Welcome to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate, Season 5, Episode 3. Always a pleasure to be in your homes on a Thursday afternoon. For all of you who are listening, you know the drill. Please like, share the page. Let your friends know that Let's Talk TCI Real Estate is going live. I always like to start off just by saying thanks to guests from the previous show. For episode 1 of season 5, we actually had Mr. Waylon Williams, who hails from North Caicos, on the show, and he spoke to us about building green. And about building green. I'm so sorry about that. Also, I had the privilege of having the Honorable Jamel Robinson on the show as well, and he came to us speaking about the new housing policy. I know that was a subject that was touched on last year, but it was of most importance to bring him back on to discuss where they were in terms of the policy at this time, how it's progressing, and any new information about the policy that could have been shared with the listening audience. For those of you who may not have watched that episode, I would entreat you to please go back and check out my Facebook page as well as my YouTube channel and have a sit down and really soak in the information and rewatch that show, because there was a lot of very informative information that was passed on. And on that same note, one of the initiatives that he spoke about was about investors or persons who are interested in building units of 5 apartment units or other development units, 5 units or more. There are incentives that the government is issuing out to individuals who wish to participate in such development. So if that person is you, we're always talking about how there's a shortage of homes, how there's a shortage of apartments on the islands of the islands in the Turks and Caicos. And if that is something you want to tap into, at least you know that there is an incentive that can help you in achieving that goal of making that possible. So again, feel free to review that show and hear about all the great incentives that is afforded you as someone who wants to invest in housing in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Great. So now we're going to move on to the actual conversation of today. And it is really about giving you an insight about working with a real estate franchise in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Okay, how I'm going to go about this today, I'm really going to be telling you about my actual story. And I'm hoping that you can learn from this experience as I point out some of the key factors that I have gathered while being with a franchise in the Turks and Caicos Islands. Of course, the franchise may not be for everyone, but after the show, you'll be able to determine for yourself if it is for you or not. One of the main reasons I wanted to do this segment is on, working with a company in the real estate industry under a franchise, is because I realize more and more that there are a lot more people who are actually turning to the career choice of being a real estate agent in the Turks and Caicos Islands. I've been in real estate for over 15 years. And I've seen people come into the industry, but not like how I'm seeing them come into the industry now. It is a very lucrative industry, and therefore I would like to be a part of your process by giving you valuable information that you can use while making a decision whether you want to join a company who is actually under franchise, or do you want to join a company who has a local based name, right? There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer to the question, but I'm hoping that this segment will help you a lot with that decision making. So basically, my story is when I began, when I started looking to become a real estate agent, of course, that was not my first career choice, but I decided to maneuver on to selling real estate. And when I decided to do that, of course, I'm new in the game. I did not know what to expect. But believe it or not, the first company that I approached was actually a company that was under a franchise, right? At that time, when I had approached that company with my resume and did my interview and everything else, there were a number of things that was required of me to become a real estate agent. And based on those things, I realized at that time that, okay, this company, which was a franchise company, was not the right fit for me. Not because the things that they asked of me were things that was impossible, but really at that time, being a newbie, I was not able to match up to the things that they had required of me. So for example, having a vehicle of your own is a necessity. It's a tool in real estate that you must have as a real estate agent. At the time, I could drive. I did have access to a car, but I did not have a car for myself personally. So these are things you have to think about when you're getting on a job and you don't have the tools. So I started thinking about it and I said, you know what? Based on the list of things that's required of me, perhaps the franchise was not for me. And I decided to apply to a company that was not a franchise, because now I'm thinking this company is going to work along with me to help me get to where I need to get without having everything upfront that was necessary and required for the job. So said, so done. I actually applied, like I said, to a company that did not have a franchise name. Just as I expected, the company was a very good company, but it allowed me to grow along with the company. So I was really excited about that, and that's what I thought would have happened, and that's exactly what happened. They allow me to take my time to be able to get all the tools while working and be able to grow along with the business. Being with a company that's not franchised allowed me the flexibility that I needed on a day-to-day basis. And also it allowed me, because it was a smaller team, that there were individuals, it felt very close-knitted and like a family business, and I felt the love and I got the attention that I needed being in that company that was not franchise, right? While I was at the company too, one of the things I realized, even as I went through the process, being a new agent, like I mentioned earlier, you do not necessarily have all, like I say, the tools. And one of the tools, I find that if you want to be a real estate agent, because the business is commission-based, you have to have a support system to help you along the way while you maneuver through your career as an agent, as you get new clients and you continue to grow to be able to stand on your own feet. It's not saying that you do not have a savings in hand, because yes, you may have a savings, but you don't know how long it's going to take for you to be able to make sales, because you're new, you don't have a client base to make sales or to continue to stand on your own 2 feet. Therefore, you can't just depend on savings, but you have to also take into consideration if you have a support system. So in doing that, I want to avoid all necessary fees, like franchise fees that I did not have to deal with, because I was trying to be on a tight budget to be able to sustain myself until I grew in the industry and were able to succeed the way I wanted to do. So franchise fees was a very important thing not to be paying also while I was at the local company. And definitely I did not have to pay any franchise fees. That's something that people think about. Of course, if you're a franchise, you're paying a franchise fees, but I did not have to do so. So while at the local company, of course, I pushed myself hard. I joined every committee. Of course, my company was a part of the Real Estate Association, so that gave me a lot of opportunities for training to improve myself and to really learn the business, right? So basically, I was comfortable where I was at. I was making ends meet. I think I was successful in my career as a real estate agent while being with a local company. And of course, I also had the backing of the local brand, because a lot of people patronize us. A lot of local clients patronize us because it was a familiar local brand. That was my experience being with a company with a local brand that was not a part of a franchise. It worked for me. It gave me the comfort I needed, and it gave me, at the time, the success that I had, that I thought was enough for me to sustain myself and to feel accomplished as a real estate agent. Over the time, just want to pause for a minute, just let you know, please let me know where you're listening from. And definitely, if you do have a question, feel free to put the question in the comment section. I just was glancing at my phone just in case if you do have a question, I'm more than willing to answer that question for you. So, like I said, I started with a company that was not a franchise. Then my company decided that we were going to go towards getting into becoming a franchise. Initially, I knew that I would have moved over with the company because I was pleased where I was in the local company, and I was also comfortable with the group of individuals who I was working with, and everything was going well. I was a bit intimidated because I didn't know what to expect on the other side of the spectrum, and also I started thinking about all the fees that I would start to accumulate, wondering if I could manage it on that level. That was my fear. I'm saying that because that's a real fear, and I'm trying to give you an experience that I've had, because I know that others, all of you out there, some of you may have felt the same way or may be thinking the same thing, and I want to be real with you so you could know that that's okay to have these feelings, but at the same time, sometimes change is necessary. So, my company franchised, and of course we had to deal with everything that came along with the franchise. But guess what? It wasn't as bad as I thought. It was actually a very positive decision that a company made. So now I'm going to give you my experience as being a part of the franchise, being a part of the franchise, and you'll be able to use this experience to determine if this is right for you. So even though everything was good while not being a franchise, I found that being a part of a real estate company that's connected to a franchise was probably the best thing that my company did for us as agents. Here are my reasons why. The first thing that I realized was about career growth. The first thing for me was about career growth. When I was at the local company, all I knew was the only options you have as a real estate agent is either you're the broker of the company, you are a real estate agent, or you are the administrator, which is also, you can look at that person as being the secretary. Those were the three available opportunities within the company. Definitely, I was no longer the administrator because I had to focus on real estate 100%. So all I could be is the real estate agent unless I had moved up to the level of a broker. So those were the three categories. The minute my company transitioned into a franchise, my eyes were open to the many opportunities there were in the real estate sector. Now, mind you, I do know that there are many opportunities in other franchise regular companies, say for example, a hotel. Of course, there are so many other career opportunities you can find within a hotel group that you can move from, other than front desk, manager, supervisor. But when it came to real estate, for some reason, because of the trend of how things work in the Turks and Caicos Islands, that was probably the three levels in many of the real estate companies on the island. So I thought that, for Turks and Caicos, that was the norm. Moving over, transitioning to the franchise, there were so many opportunities that opened up. And for me as an individual, I was excited about it because I was also able to embrace new career opportunities. So not only am I a real estate agent, but also I'm a team leader with responsibilities. There's also positions such as tech trainers or productivity coaches that can exist in the real estate agency, just to name a few. And these weren't just meaningless posts, but these career opportunities is very, the word is needed in the real estate industry because it helps with the growth of the company and more so the growth of the agent. And on that note, because of that, the franchise that I started with, it was more agent-based. So I actually got a lot more privileges as a real estate agent under the franchise, this franchise than I had in a local company because of the differences in how the company was operated. And for example, I'm with Keller Williams Turks and Caicos. And because Keller Williams is a company that was made by an agent for an agent, what it means that even in my previous company, the broker would have been on a higher level than I would have been, but under this franchise brand that we selected, my broker, once she's an agent, we are all on the same level and on the same playing field. So we all have the same opportunities and can take advantage of all the possibilities within the franchise. So for me, I thought that was a very good thing, so that we're all on the same level and we have the same opportunities to be on an equal playing field to be able to excel, right? So that was a really good thing. Just knowing that there are so many other opportunities and other ways for me to climb the real estate ladder, being a part of the franchise, I think that that was one of the best moves that I could have made by being a part of a franchise. For some people, they may not have the same feeling, but because I'm an ambitious person, I feel like this was a really good move because I am not able to venture into other career opportunities, right? The other thing about being a franchise that I found about this that was a really good thing is because of the franchise keeps the market center accountable. So we just can't do anything because we now have to be able to adhere to the rules of the franchise, and it makes us more accountable. And therefore, I found that our success rate is much higher. Sometimes keeping yourself accountable, you get relaxed in the process, but when someone else is keeping you accountable, I think you achieve more. And that's what a franchise, I think, does for you as an individual, and especially in the real estate industry where we are practically self-employed. We can move when we want to move and do as we like in certain ways. Because you now have a brand reputation to protect, because you have rules and regulations in the brand, I think that you get more accountable. And one of the things I talked about was a productivity coach. That is a career opportunity, and within these franchise, within the franchise I'm working with, we do have a productivity coach. We do have a team leader who are supposed to keep the agents accountable and to make sure that they grow in the business. So that's the first reason I feel that being a part of a franchise in the career of real estate, I think is very beneficial to you as a real estate agent. You have opportunities to move up the ladder and to improve in your career, and you don't have to feel stagnant. The second thing is brand power. We all understand that, we all understand about brand power. Sometimes we think about what we're not capable of doing, and we forget that the brand will work for us in most cases, okay? For example, when I started, I said I was new at it. I was thinking about, okay, how am I gonna survive just by making commissions? And I don't wanna pay franchise fees. But if I had thought about it a little bit harder, you would have thought that, okay, sometimes the brand actually works for you, right? The brand is there to help you, okay? If you're a part of a franchise, you're connected to a reputable brand that will give you leverage compared to other companies. I've been in real estate, and as soon as they see that I'm affiliated with Keller Williams, they get a sense of trust already because they are familiar with the brand. Sometimes you don't have to do anything. I'm not saying you don't have to work hard. Definitely you do have to work hard. But just by associating yourself with that brand, it gives you leverage. Buyers and sellers, they recognize the brand giving you a competitive edge. I can say for a fact, before we franchised, of course I had customers who I'd worked so hard for, but since we became the franchise, there were countless persons who have contacted me saying, because I was affiliated with the Keller Williams brand. So it works for you, right? So person from the same brand will also reach out to you. For the longest of time, there were so many people from Keller Williams coming to the Turks and Caicos Islands, and I never really paid much attention because I was not really familiar with the brand. But of course, as soon as we hoist that KW flag, there were so many people walking in the door, repeat customers to the islands, who were saying, hey, I'm a Keller Williams agent. Let's work together. I'm a Keller Williams agent. I'm interested in this. I'm a Keller Williams agent. I've been here for 10 years, coming repeatedly. How can we work along to promote your properties, to do these things? So the brand will work for you. You will get people who recognize your brand contacting you just because of the brand. The brand means a lot. So whatever franchise company you work with, you want to make sure, investigate that is the correct franchise company for you, because obviously the brand can work for you based on the company that it is, right? My other thing is, I would say about franchising, which is so good when you go under a brand with a franchise, is training. Training is very crucial. I am not saying that a company that's not associated with a franchise doesn't train. I am not saying that, because every company has their own way of training their agents. But what I am saying is that a lot of franchise companies, they already have proven built-in systems for their agents to use, right? And they have training mechanism in place already. In my company, training is a must. I can't get away from it. Even if I don't want to train, I have schedules for training even on a weekly basis. So training is very important, because you are able, after you have been trained, to be able to use the tools, the systems, the models that the company has trained you on to help give leverage to your business. A prime example in real estate is, one of the very most important thing to a real estate agent is their database. Is the database. When I was at the company before the franchise, we did not have any systems to assist me with my database. So for me, it was based on Excel sheets, writing down customers' names, and trying to save it, print it on paper, etc. Now over to the new company as a franchise, there are systems that they have that will automatically help you in gathering a database and improving your database. It teaches you how to store your database. It teaches you how to work the database. It teaches you all about database management and how to keep it. Why is this so important to us? Because sometimes you may meet a customer today and you may not be able to actually sell them or list a property for them probably 5 years from now. So the database system that your franchise company can help you with will help you to know how to enter that information, but also how to maintain that customer until they are ready in the next 5 years by contacting them, making touches with them, and doing what it is you need to do. I'm saying all of that because that franchise company would already have a proven system model to help the agents and to help them to leverage what they need to do. It is so important in the world of real estate. We are so busy catering to customers, but also, doing what we have to do in our daily lives. We need to find something that's going to cause us to leverage, where we only have to do 20% work and get 80% results. That's what it's all about. You don't want to be doing 80% work on a day-to-day, burning out yourself, tiring out yourself, and you're only getting 20% result. You want to do the reverse. 20% work, 80% results. What allows you to do that? The system and models that you would get whenever you connect yourself with a franchise company. That's what I got when we transitioned over to the franchise company that I am now a part of. Again, every franchise company may be different, but I'm just sharing my story with you so that you are able to make an informed decision once you decide to take on the career of real estate to determine what is best for you. Another important thing about franchising, just checking. Another important thing about aligning yourself with a franchise when you're in the real estate industry is networking. Networking is very important. Again, a company that is not franchised, yes, we all network individually. When I go to church, I'm networking. When I go to the bank, I'm talking to others and I'm networking. But through a franchise, it allows you to do it on a larger scale. And what I mean by that, number one, practically 99, 100% of the franchise companies, especially in real estate, because we want to be top in the market, there are conferences that you can go to as a real estate agent. With Keller Williams, we have, say, 2 major conferences for the year. But that doesn't stop there. Throughout the year, there are sub-level conferences that are happening everywhere that agents can tap into. That's a big opportunity for you as a real estate agent. Beforehand, when I was in the company that's not franchised, even though I always wanted to go to conferences, the opportunity just wasn't presenting itself because as an agent, I wasn't sure how to go about it since our company was not affiliated with any of these conferences. There are conferences now that I am with a franchise. I realize that, say for example, with Keller Williams, they do allow persons who are not a part of the KW franchise to attend their conventions, but I did not realize that at the time. But now that I have realized that, I try to encourage persons who are not a part of the franchise to come and get the experience. What it does for you, like I said, it's about networking. Can you imagine over 22,000 people in one setting from different walks of life? You are able to introduce yourself, introduce your country to all of these individuals and be able to get referrals, to be able to get connections, to be able to make new partnerships and friendships with all these people. And this is what's going to help you in your career. On the other hand, the other thing that during these conferences it does for you, it gives you that boost. In this real estate industry, I'm sure everyone can say the same. If not, then God bless you. Sometimes you feel burnt out because it's not an easy job like a lot of people make it to seem. There are challenges like any other job, and it's not always glamour and glitz. As real estate agents, 99.9% of them work very hard to get where they are in terms of real estate and in their career. I'm an agent, and I applaud all agents out there because they do. It's a lot of work, even with the mind, dealing with real estate. Not just in Turks and Caicos, I think that's a real estate thing all around. But going to conventions and opportunities like this, even though you're networking, you're getting the boost that you need to take you further another few days. And this is what a lot of agents need. When they feel burnt out, when you're in the crowd with 22,000 people, you're feeding off of each other, you're getting information from each other. I think that it's always necessary for you to say, okay, now I have new ideas to be able to push my clients' properties. I have new ideas to allow me to go the extra mile in real estate. Now I'm all charged up and I'm ready to start running forward in my career as a real estate agent again. Okay, that's what I think the conventions does for you, and it gives you a really good networking opportunity, right? Again, this is something I feel like all agents would want to experience. Also, in terms of networking, when you are a part of a franchise, because technology is the next step, you have a lot of technological opportunities that the companies will provide for you, again, for leveraging, but also to connect and network with others. Even when it comes to, say, social media, say, for example, Facebook, something that we all use. The franchise, like there are so many groups You can find a group for everything. I'm at Keller Williams, just as an example. You can find a listing group where you can put your properties on. You can find a referral group where people can refer to you. You can find a group if you just want to talk to people about the systems and models. You can find a group for anything you think about real estate. There is a support system for you on Facebook that you can tap into. And this is really good because you're dealing with other persons who are experiencing the same thing and can help you to get even more creative. How many more creative? Just having the resources at your fingertips, I think that's a plus for being a part of a franchise, because sometimes you have difficult properties that you have to sell, and sometimes there's a mind block. Every now and again it's like, what can I do to push this property? And sometimes it just takes tapping into one of those resources that the franchise affords you to have, and just brainstorming with other persons worldwide, internationally, and networking with people. And sometimes that's all it takes to make that impossible sale that you have, right? And the other thing I would want to say about this whole networking thing and real estate, why it's so important and being a part of the franchise is very crucial, is really because whenever you are a local company, for some reason, you say it's more difficult getting the privilege listings. And please forgive me for saying this, but it is the truth. And most times they want to go with someone who has more reach. And this is what the franchise gives you, more reach. You are able to say to that person you're selling property for, not only am I selling your property, but also my 22,000 agents in Keller Williams is also selling your property, which is the truth. The reach is just much more further for you. And this is what most persons are looking for, especially in this market where we live in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and most of our client base is international. Persons want to know that their product is reaching the international market. And the franchise is able to help you, because this is where you can network and partner with other persons in your franchise on an international level to push such properties, especially where high in developments and we're high in residential homes and in income properties, and they can help you to push these properties so that you can get a sale. So I think that's a really, really good reason that you would want to be with a franchise. And one last thing I think I want to talk about in regards to being with a franchise is franchise fees. If you remembered, when I started, I talked about when I started real estate, I was worried about not being able to maintain my fees if I was with a franchise, because I didn't know how many sales I would make or not make. What I find is that don't be afraid of the franchise fees. The reason for saying it is because the franchise has now opened up opportunities for you. So hopefully the franchise has worked for you, and for me it has worked, and has allowed you to make more sales than you would have made without being a part of it. Great? That's the first thing. The second thing I started thinking about and I realized is that the same rules with a non-franchise doesn't really necessarily applies with the franchise. So for example, when I was at the non-franchise, my commission split was less than when I moved over to the franchise. My commission split increased. So these are small little things that makes up to help you to be able to maintain and sustain the franchise fee. And it wasn't because it was the concept of the company, but more so because they had to follow the standards of the franchise. So that was very beneficial. The other thing about it was that, so not only the commission split change and increase, but also the franchise company has provided or is providing incentives to agents when they meet their milestone and their goals. And also it's a financial reward. You ever heard about, well, let me say it this way. It's not a referral fee, but it's like a referral. If you meet your goals, it's more like they're giving you back a percentage. You got to work hard to reach your goals now, but it's something to work and look forward to. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not just all about paying fees to a franchise, but also some franchise actually gives back to their agents. So that's something you want to think about that will help you to be able to offset what you are paying to the franchise. So think about all the benefits you are receiving for this franchise fee that you are paying. Just want to pause because I'm almost to the end of the show, just to make sure, do you have any questions? Do you want to just be able to, if you have a question, it's a good opportunity to throw it in there before we wrap it up. So in summary, like I was saying before, whether you are a part of a franchise or not, there's no wrong answer to that if you want to join a company that's not franchised. And there are successful businesses that does not have a franchise name in the real estate industry I'm talking about. I'm just talking, remember this is about real estate, so I'm talking about in the real estate industry. There are real estate successful businesses that are not franchised. So I just want to tell you that, but I'm just trying to open your eyes and to give you a little bit of insight on some of the benefits that I found since I was able to transition over to a company that has a franchise name and brand. I find that it was a good move for me, and I wanted to bring this to the attention of us because I know we have a lot of people who are not thinking about real estate and they may not know where to start. So just giving you some insight, whatever decision you decide to make, don't go in with fear if you think about a franchise, because just thinking about the fees, but go in knowing that there's a lot you'll be able to gain. Remember, real estate as independent agents, it's like we are our own business owners. So you want to be in a place where you can develop your business and grow. You want to be in a place where you have someone making you accountable. Well, that's where I wanted to be. So that whenever I started to relax, then I would have someone, hey, time to get up, catch up on your toes, because that business is my livelihood. Great? So working in a business where you are technically your own boss and it's paid only on commission, it is good to have support, and that is what the franchise, I would say, does for you. It may not be the best fit for everyone, but certainly it does make a difference. Certainly it does make a difference. So I hope that I have given you much food for thought today. So if you were ever thinking whether you should join a company that's a part of a franchise, don't be intimidated, because there are lots of benefits that you can get and help you to grow and be there, especially as a support system for new agents that will help you to grow in your business. That's all I have for today. There aren't any questions. I want to say to you, thank you for listening in, and also, please tune in next week. I'm gonna have 2 guests in studio, 2 real estate agents. You don't want to miss it, because they are going to be sharing their thoughts on a very, very exciting topic. So please be sure to tune into Let's Talk TCI Real Estate next week. So until next week, I will say to you, stay safe and remain blessed. Have a very good evening. Thank you for watching.
The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this show belong solely to Let's Talk TCI Real Estate and not that of Keller Williams TCI or any of its affiliates. Any action you take upon the information provided on this show is strictly at your own risk, and Let's Talk TCI Real Estate guest or host will not be liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of the material. I am not an investment advisor, broker, or dealer.